So recently in Winnipeg here, there was a park that was named after the founder of Pakistan. And the sign was recently vandalized, and now they're trying to tie this to Maxime Bernier and his recent tweets, right? And this is definitely a hoax in my opinion. Like I'm like 99% certain because first of all, if you look at the sign and how it was vandalized, the base of it was sawed off like very nicely. Like the sign was then laid against, like, I don't know, a tree, and it's still usable. Like the sign is not really damaged that badly. Like you could still definitely reuse it or repair it. No problem. Whereas typically when you see things that are vandalized, they have paint thrown over them, they are set on fire, you know, this type of shit, you're trying to destroy it. You're not trying to just change it a little bit to make it still like 100% usable, right? So the way that it was vandalized seems kind of conspicuous to me, but this isn't going to stop the media from tying it to Maxime Bernier. Like, this is an article from the CBC. Sign vandalized after MP Maxime Bernier calls out Winnipeg Park for extreme multiculturalism. So, he didn't call out Winnipeg Park for extreme multiculturalism. First of all, he was talking about the Liberals' extreme multicultural platform. But like, this is his tweet: Canada under extreme liberal multiculturalism. Then he says, while a statue of our country's founder is being removed in one city, a park was recently named after Pakistan's founder in another, in the presence of M103 Liberal MP sponsor. So about 2 days after he said this, conveniently, it was vandalized. Now, I don't believe it was any of his supporters or followers that did this. How many of them potentially live in Winnipeg and are on Twitter and saw this tweet to begin with? It was definitely some fucking liberal group or some fucking Muslim group that wanted to stir up more fucking sympathy and to attack or to create the image that they're fucking victims, just like that whole hijab hoax that happened a little while ago and all the other hoaxes that keep popping up and nobody really talks about. But, for this type of shit, it's just going to allow them to virtue signal. I think they're having something today where they're going to have a feast or a bunch of people celebrating diversity or some shit. And it's like, oh my god, this is just ridiculous propaganda, and you're gonna see more and more of it if Maxime Bernier keeps talking the way he does on Twitter, because he is calling out a lot of shit, and it is funny to watch him like argue with like the CBC reporters and stuff back and forth, and how they're like clearly smearing him, and if you look at the likes and the retweets compared to Maxime Bernier, compared to like a lot of the other politicians in Canada, he gets way more, and especially compared to the Liberals, to Andrew Scheer and the other Conservatives. Like, I don't know why they are not taking a page from his book, but if they did, they would have a chance of winning in the next election. Like, if they did the same things he did on supply management and was willing to compromise on that, he would be in negotiations with fucking Trump right now, but Andrew Scheer, who pretty much got elected because of the dairy cartel, he's not going to come out, he's not going to say anything about it. And Michelle Rempel and people like her, she's not going to come out about the whole immigration shit. And she came out and condoned him on his comments about diversity, saying that like, oh, he's just doing it to increase his popularity and this that bullshit. It's like, no, fuck you. It's like, what, people like following your platform is not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to out liberal a fucking liberal. It's not going to fucking work. Conservatives, we need to be honest. We need to start speaking. And our politicians need to start speaking like Maxime Bernier if they want to have a chance of, usurping fucking Trudeau, right? That is the only chance. You can't out-liberal him, okay? You're not going to pander. And I think people are too afraid. They think that we have too many minorities in Canada now, that if you come out against immigration, it's going to anger too many people. But, you know, a lot of immigrants are against mass immigration too. So being scared is not going to help. You got to be honest. We got to start speaking about this like he is doing. And, you know, we see that what he is saying is hitting a chord because the media is attacking him. They're going to keep attacking him. You're going to see more and more, and you're going to see more pressure put on him, on Andrew Scheer and all these other people, to kick him out of the cabinet, to kick him out of any position of power. And that would be the dumbest mistake they can make, because if they do, I'm not going to vote for Conservatives. Like, do I really want to after that? If you're just going to be a little bit less worse than Trudeau, then what the fuck is the point, right? What is the point? You know, it's like people, they need to learn that they're not speaking for the people. So if the only way that you're going to learn that is losing horribly within the next election, and us having to have another few years of Trudeau, then that is the way it's going to fucking be. Because you guys, it doesn't seem like it's going to be much better with you, because you're not standing behind Maxime Bernier. You know, you're not saying anything about mass immigration. A lot of these conservatives are not talking about kicking out a lot of these asylum seekers that are in here now. They're just talking about, oh, how are we going to pay for this? And how are we need money from the government. And how are we going to assimilate these people? And this and that. It's like, no, how are we going to kick them out? How are we going to remove these people? This is a better question. Like, they do not deserve to be here, and they need to be deported back to America or back to their fucking countries. And the only people saying this shit are Faith Goldie and Maxime Bernier and possibly a couple other politicians. But everybody else is too afraid, too pussy to say what needs to be said. And just like I think it was the other day too, there was a woman who called out Trudeau in a rally in Quebec, and she's like, you know, when are you going to pay? She's like, when are you going to refund Quebec for the $146 million you spent on these illegal immigrants? And his response was like, oh, we don't have intolerance to immigrants here in Canada, you know. So he's using this double speak already. In our media, they take a page out of the liberals' books in America by, you know, changing the names of illegal aliens to undocumented citizens or irregular border crossers. So now, and he called these asylum seekers immigrants. You know, she was talking about the illegal aliens, and he's like, how dare you be tolerant towards immigrants? Like, that is Orwellian doublespeak. She wasn't talking about immigrants, but Trudeau knows what he's doing. He's gonna label that like racist and all this shit. And then she was removed from the crowd by like these fucking undercover police. And there's all these people in the crowd saying, oh, she's inciting violence. She's being aggressive, which she wasn't. Some fucking old lady, and then they like brought her off and like, you know, grabbed her by the arms, like, what's your ID? Do you have your identification? Do you have this? It's like, she's clearly a fucking citizen of Quebec. She's speaking French. She's white. She is a citizen, but they're not gonna do that to some brown Somalia guy that just fucking crossed the border. No, that would be racist, you know. But this is just insane what is happening. Our culture is being attacked. Like, Sir John A. Macdonald, yeah, is being removed from everything. They want to, like, all these fucking unions and school union motherfuckers are trying to get him removed from schools, from streets, from all this shit. And like, the council in Victoria voted to remove the fucking statue in Victoria. If you're gonna have a statue removed in your city, that should be put up to a referendum, so each citizen within that town can vote. It shouldn't be put up to the fucking liberal fucking council, who probably doesn't speak up for the majority of people, because a lot of people are afraid to say anything, to say like, hey, we should not remove the statue, because they know what they're gonna get. They know they're gonna get the response, oh, well, so you support colonialism and you support residential schools, because if you want the statue to stay here, you're pretty much a bigot and a racist. So that is why a lot of people are too afraid. That's why it needs to be put up to a referendum, to a vote, anonymous vote, and then you'll actually get a good response on what people want to be done with the statue. But they're like, no, we'll just leave it up to the council. Fuck the council. That should have been put up to the people. And the same with this park that is in Winnipeg. I don't want this park in Winnipeg. I don't want a park commemorating the founder of Pakistan. No, fuck Pakistan. I don't give a two flying fucks about your country. If it's so great and you want to put things up to it, go live there. Go live in Pakistan. Why are you in Canada putting up fucking things to your people? Fuck your people. You come here, and if you come to Canada, you should come here to want to assimilate. You should want to leave your culture primarily behind. I don't want to force people to assimilate per se, but if you are leaving there and you are coming to Canada, then you should learn about our history and become Canadian. Forget about your past. Forget about your shit. Or not. Don't forget about it. Okay, that's a little harsh, but I'm saying, like, no. If we don't put shit up to your leaders, cry about it and leave somewhere else. And you should have respect for our founding fathers. Have respect for the country that you're immigrating to, and not try to change the fucking culture to suit your own, right? Like, no, that is bullshit. There should be a lot of Pakistanis within Winnipeg that should be opposed to this fucking thing. That should be opposed to this if they actually cared, in my opinion. You should be against changing the demographics of Canada. You should be against changing the culture of Canada, because you came here for a reason. You came here to flee. You came here because your country is not as good as ours. So, more people need to speak up against this stuff. And who cares if they're going to call you racist? I don't really care. I don't think we should have this park. I don't think it should have been vandalized either. That's not what I'm saying, but it shouldn't have been there to begin with, okay? If we're going to have parks, let's name them after people. Like, if this Pakistani guy grew up in Canada his whole life, and it was like we can name it after like a Pakistani guy who's been Canadian, or he did some great things in Canada, right? Or as a Canadian citizen, sure, name a park after some person. But I'm not going to start putting up statues to Buddha and to fucking Islam or whatever, no. Like, our culture comes first. And like I said, for parks, you can name them after a Canadian citizen and stuff. But when it's after leaders and founders of other countries, while we're at this very same time removing statues of our founding fathers of our country, that's insane. And more Pakistani people, more people of color need to start speaking up and saying that's bullshit, and we should be keeping these signs and these statues and these names up for everybody. Because it's like, man, my culture is French too, so it's not like Sir John A. Macdonald treated French people the best either. There's a lot of reason. Like, I'm related to like L'Oreal and all this shit, like, not directly, but my great grandmother was his grandmother or something, right? So it's like I have reasons not to like Sir John A. Macdonald, but it's like, get the fuck over it, okay? We are a country now. He was the fucking founder of this country. He was the creator of this country, and he deserves some fucking respect. And not only that, he is a part of our culture, of our heritage, and we should not destroy that. We need to keep that up as long as we possibly can. And if a town does want to get rid of a statue or something, it should be put up to a referendum, to a vote, to all these citizens within that town, within that community. And if 50-60% of them decide to remove it, then okay, but it should not be put up to a council. You know, that is bullshit. But you know, that is all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.